Hello folks. In OIM, I had covered most of the Java, and I told leftover few things you can, like file handling, multi-threading, and some super this keyword etc. Small thing you can just go through over the internet. Out of that, those are very small topic, but two topics I thought it's important and I should cover it up, because if you go by yourself it will take 3 to 5 days. Depends on your previous level of experience. So I'm going to save that in couple of minutes, okay, and I will cover it up for you. So first of all, how we create a file. Okay, it's the first thing. So there is a class called file. Let me just show it to you. There is a class called file, and when you create the object of the class, okay, let's say new file, that file object, okay, this constructor actually asks you to provide the you know the current directory, whether that file is there or not, or whether you want to create or that file, or means whatever file you are talking about, you want to create this file, you want to check whether this file exists or not, that file name you have to pass. Okay, so if you don't pass any location, it will create in the current directory this particular file. So just by this statement the file is not created. Okay, what it do, there are multiple methods are there. So when, let's say for example, this particular reference is when I pass f dot exist. Okay, so this is going to check whether the file, this f is nothing but a pointer which is pointing to, you know is there any abc.txt is there or not. If it is there, it's going to return true. If it is not there, it's going to return false. So first we always check whether that file is there or not. So since this file is already there in my system, so it's going to return true. True means this file is already there. When you're going to create a file for the first time, let's say I'm going to check something called fbc, then, and let me hide this line, let me comment this line. Okay, and when I run this code, when I run, one second, let me run this code now. You see it's going to return false to you. So why it's returning false? Because the file is not existing. So if that file is not existing, what I want to create that file. So using this object reference you can create this file, but this line is not going to create the file. So f dot create new file will create that particular file if it is not there, and when you check again it's going to return true, and it's like true. That's why it's coming true 2 times. Okay, so once your file is created, there is a two operations. You have to write on that file and you have to read on that file. So let me just show you first write operation. In order to perform write operation, there are multiple readers are given to you to perform those write operation. Out of that, there like file reader is there, buffer reader is there. So buffer reader is the most simplest form of the reader which can read those particular files. Okay, so buffer reader example I'm going to show it to you. But how buffer reader reads? Buffer reader or buffer writer, okay, never communicates with the file directly. So what it does, it communicates with the file with the help of file reader or writer. Okay, so let's say this is a buffer writer. Buffer writer never talks directly with file, it takes help of file writer. Okay, so how we create just the same diagram you write as a code. New buffer writer object you create, and new buffer writer object again you pass new file writer object, and then you pass abc.txt the file name. Then you can say it's this portion is attached with your file. When this portion is attached with your file, now this can suck the information from the file, it can transfer the information to the file. Okay, so this you can think like tube, which is attached over here, and from that the communication will start. Okay, so new buffer writer have a new file writer object, and there you pass the file. Okay, now you have the buffer writer object. Now if you have the buffer writer object, you can simply start writing on the file. Okay, you can pass the string, okay, any number of string. So let's say KTPort one string I am passing. Whenever you pass the KTPort string, it is going to write KTPort on this first line. Okay, then I'm writing buffer writer bw dot new line. So whenever you write new line, it's going to press one enter. After this means it will type something and then it's going to press some enter like this. Okay, and then you can also store information in the form of character array. Let's say this is one character array, and when you write b again, dot write method, you will call buffer writer dot write, and you pass this array, this will also be printed. Okay, let me just show you the output, just a moment. So this is that file, you see abc.txt. So you see KTPort is there, abc is there, okay, Java tutorial is there. So my point to show it to you is whatever you write will pass here, and new line will create one new line. And when you pass all the information, okay, we always run these two methods. We, buffer writer dot flush, buffer writer dot close. Buffer writer dot flush is, it's kind of whenever you when you go washroom, you press flush, right? Okay, so when you press flush, flush means whatever remaining things will, clearly go out. So whenever you write buffer writer dot flush, if there is any problem, if any character not passed properly, that is clearly passed to the file, okay, without any issue. And then you write buffer writer dot close, so you can close this particular connection, means this tube is detached from this file. Okay, so this is how we write. And how to read the information from the file, this is important for OIM perspective. Okay, so here you create buffer reader. Okay, similar way, you cannot directly read from the file, you need file reader, and from file reader you attach buffer reader. Okay, so buffer reader object that has a file reader object, and there you pass the file name which you want to read. Okay, first let me show this to you, a moment. Let me just show this and run this for you. Okay, one second. Let me just uncheck this, and yeah. Okay, so let me do one thing, let me just uncheck this, and okay, okay, and now let me just remove this. Okay, let me remove this. Now let me run this so that you can able to understand what I am doing. Now let me show it to you. So see, buffer reader is now connected to this file. Now buffer reader will suck the information from the file. How buffer reader works, buffer reader has the capability to read file line by line, whereas file reader has, file reader actually, that's a legacy thing that read character by character, okay, which is useless for us. The main thing is there is a method in buffer reader which is called read line method. So what it does, it read the current line, okay, wherever buffer reader is pointing, and then it jump to the next line after, reading it automatically. Just remember this point in your mind. Okay, so here you see what happened. I am printing, see, buffer reader this BR. So BR is pointing to the first line KTPort. So what it will do, it will give you the output KTPort, and automatically when you run br.readline, it will print the, means it will read the KTPort which I am printing, and then it will jump to the next line which is ABC. Okay, it went to the ABC. Now again br.readline, it will do what, wherever it's pointing. Right now it's pointing to ABC, so it will print ABC and it will jump to the next line. Next line is Java tutorial. It's pointing to Java tutorial. So br.readline, it will print Java tutorial and jump to the next line. Now next line is null. Means there is nothing is there in the file. Okay. So it will print null and it will exit. Okay. So this is one thing which I wanted to share with you. Okay. Now same thing I am doing with loop. And I knowingly written the loop in a different way so that I can show this particular thing to you. Here you see what I am doing. I am creating a, string called line, which is vr.readline. Means whatever the string it's reading in the first line, it should store in the line variable. So what I am doing, this loop will run until and unless we are not reaching to the end of the file, and end of the file is null. So until the buffer reader is not returning null, means we can continue with the loop. So see, string line equal to br dot read line. Now tell me where the pointer is pointing as of now. It's pointing to the first line, which is KTPort. So when I print line, okay, this is going to return KTPort. Now as I told, whenever you know you are executing br dot read line, is it do two things. First, br dot read line is going to store the value of first line, which is KTPort on the line, and it automatically jump to the next line. It automatically jump to the next line. Now whenever it automatically jump to the next line, so which line it's pointing now? ABC. So again, what I'm doing over here, br dot read line. When I'm doing here br dot read line, okay, what it's going to do, right now pointing to ABC. Now the value of line is ABC, and it's ABC store here, and the pointer jump to the next line. Okay, so that's why when I'm printing system here line over here, okay, it's going to return ABC because ABC is there, and it's just a dash dash dash. So right now we are pointing to ABC. Again, ABC right now, where is the pointer? The pointer is on Java tutorial. Okay, just the pointer is on ABC as of now. Okay, it reads the ABC dot line and jump to the next line. Okay, so right now the value of line is ABC, so ABC is not null. Okay, so we again came back in the loop. Okay, since ABC is not null, it's again going to print ABC, and again we are it's jumping to the next line, which is Java tutorial. Java tutorial is pointing now. Line equal to br dot read line. So it's pointing to Java tutorial. Now, whenever you print next, it's going to print Java tutorial. So Java tutorial is the next output, and then dash dash dash. Right now, what is the value of this line variable? The value of the line variable is Java tutorial, and the pointer is at, you know, after Java tutorial. Let's set null. So it's again checking, okay, whether line is not equal to null. So line value is Java tutorial, so Java tutorial is not null. Again it's continuing, okay, and it's printing Java tutorial. Again coming back over here, and now line equal to br dot read line. Now it's already at the end of the program, it's pointing to the null. Okay, here you see this is the file. So after Java tutorial nothing is there, so right now it's pointing to the null. Okay, so null, it's pointing and it's returning null to the line. Okay, and here we are printing the null is being printed over here. You see null. Now when it's going next time, so null is not equal to null, and here the loop exit. Okay, so this is how you can read the things from the file. Okay, while line is where until it's not returning any null, okay, means you are not reaching end of the file, keep printing the line, or keep printing wherever your buffer reader is pointing, and go to the next line. How you go to the next line? Just again by writing br dot read line. So br dot read line do two things: it read and go to the next, read and go to the next. Okay, so this is about file handling. Okay, so in 13-14 minutes I covered file handling. Okay, this is actually a very big thing, but this much information is sufficient enough to read your file handling whenever you receive any files from HR and all. Now let me go to multi-threading. Okay, so let me show you multi-threading. So see, multi-threading means what? Doing multiple tasks if you want to do, or multiple tasks simultaneously you want to perform. Okay, then you go with multi-threading concept. Okay, in again, thread is nothing but what I can say. So thread is nothing but a separate flow of execution. Okay, means it's a complete different execution. So its definition is separate flow of execution. Okay, let's say simple I can say, let's say this is a let's say this is a program which you want to complete in, if you execute line by line, rather what I can do, I can divide. Let's say I want to check, this is, let's say, C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive. I want to check a particular file abc.txt in which drive. So if you go sequentially, check for C drive completely, then go to D drive, then go to E drive, then go to F drive, is time consuming. What you can rather do, you can check C, D, E, F parallelly. So it's going to utilize the complete resource and it's faster. Okay, so if you go sequentially, it's a single thread which is main thread. And if you go all together you want, so you can create multiple thread, let's say T1, T2, T3 and T4, and each thread at the same time reading this. Okay, again, how it will be done, let me just go back and explain it to you. So so thread is separate flow of execution. Each individual portion can be treated as a single thread. Okay. Okay, thread, how you can define a thread, or how you can create a thread. It's created by two methods, two ways. First is extending thread class, second implementing runnable interface. Okay, you can use anyone whichever you like. Okay, so here I'm showing you the first one by extending thread class. So I'm going to create one thread class, let's say my thread. Whenever you extend the thread class, you will going to override run method. Okay, this run method comes with a thread class. You see, it's coming with a thread class, run method. Okay, so you are in thread class, there is a run method which we override. So whatever logic you write inside this method, means this portion, whatever you are going to write, that is the actual job your thread is going to perform. Okay, let's say this is my thread means T1. So this T1 will do what, that portion you define in the run method. Similar way you can create another thread class, let's say T2. Similar way T3. Similar way T4. So T1 have C drive logic of reading, T2 have D drive logic of reading. Okay, like that. Okay, T3 have E drive logic of reading. So when you execute T1, T2, T3 parallelly, all these drive will be read parallelly. Okay, so that's all. So here I have created one job. It could be anything. I'm just printing some messages just to show you this is whatever is written inside this run method is the actual job which this T1 or my thread is going to perform. Okay, now I'm going to show you the demo. Here you see this is the main method, okay, or main class. Okay, where I'm going to call those things. Okay, so whenever you write main method, okay, public static void main, public static void main. Okay, I'm going to tell you something in my own way how I understand the thread. Main method itself, you can say it's a one thread. Main method means main thread. So, okay, so whenever anything you write inside the main method, okay, it's called main method is executing that, or you can say in another way, in multi-threading language, you can say main thread is executing that. Simple. Okay, so here in the main method, what you can do, you can start, okay, your T1, T2, T3, whatever thread. So this my thread which I have created like T1, I'm going to start this in my main method. How you can start? You can create object my thread T equal to my thread, new my thread. Okay, so you are going to create object, okay, reference of your custom thread class, okay, your T1, which is actually going to execute. And when on that particular object of your child thread, I can simple say this is a child thread, main thread is a parent, you can think like this, and all are child. So whenever you write T dot start, okay, let's say this is my threads object dot start, so it will automatically call the run method present in this particular thread. Okay, means the job will be executed. Similar way, let's say I have a T2 thread. So what I will do, my thread T2, my thread 2 equal to T2 equal to new thread and T2 dot start. So main thread will start your T2 thread also. Similar way, my thread 3, T3 equal to new my thread 3, T3 dot start. So this all T1, T2, T3 threads will automatically start parallelly, okay, by just calling the start method. Okay, now you will be confused why I'm not calling run method, because run and start are interlinked in the logic. So when you write T dot start, actually you are calling this run method only. So whatever is the logic inside this is going to get executed, and this is how it. And here I am just writing whatever you are writing in the main method as a logic, that is executed by your main thread. So here you see this logic is the part of main thread, correct, because it's the main method. Main method is the main thread, so it's executed. And again, the sequence could be anything, it varies. Okay, output is not guaranteed it will execute first main and then child, nothing is like that, it varies. Okay, and then you see what happened. when I'm writing t dot start, so it's calling the thread, okay, this particular thread, and whatever job is mentioned inside the thread is performed. Okay, so what I have done till now, here one thread was there, main thread, and now main thread started one more thread along with it. You can think like this was a main thread, M A I N, and again here main thread is splitted like one main, okay, which is doing its own job, and one you started my thread, which is nothing but your T1 kind, or T whatever T1. So this is doing its own job. Similar way you can call T3, T4, T5. So main will do its task, and T1, T2, T3 parallelly will do their own task. Okay, so multitasking can be performed at the same time. That's the multi-threading. Simple. So in interview they will ask which method you implement. So run method we implement in, threading. Okay, and by extending your thread class. Again, to achieve it, there is another way, by implementing runnable interface. Let me show you. Here you see, so same thing you can achieve by implementing runnable interface. Again, same run method will be there. In the run method your actual logic is there, okay, which is done by this particular thread. Okay, so whenever this thread is started, automatically the logic is going to get executed. Okay, and now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the main method. This is a main method. In the main method, again you have to start, your thread. But when you implement the runnable, starting a thread is a little different. Okay, there you start in a different way. How you start t dot start, right? It got start, but here it's little different. Here, see, this is my thread. Name of my thread is runnable. It could be t3, t4. So I'm going to create object of my thread, okay, which my custom thread. Let's say my runnable r equal to new runnable. So that object is ready. In extend, what you have used to do, r dot start, correct, but here r dot start will not work. Okay, because it implement runnable. Okay, so it have a different approach. What that approach is, it says this r reference of your thread class pass to the actual thread object. So create a thread object and pass this thread object, this r here, and then write t dot start. Okay, so when you write t dot start, okay, so t dot start will start your r. Okay, so there the difference is, there you used to start like directly, you used to create object of your custom thread class and you used to write start. Now here you will create object of your custom thread class, and that object you pass in the thread class, the parent class, and then you write t dot start. It's a different is approach, and don't worry about this approach. The main thing is what you have to do, you have to understand, when you start your thread, this is a main thread. Whatever logic you write in the main thread, let me run it. Whatever logic you write in the main thread is executed by main thread, and whenever whatever threads you are creating, whenever you start them in the main thread, they are also going to get executed. Okay, that's the thing you have to understand. Okay, so that's all about, this is the shortest video I created. Okay, this will give you an introduction to file handling and thread multi-threading. That's all. And one more thing before completing this, let me just tell you one thing. There is a throw keyword, okay, which I told you that time, you can go through it. See, the purpose of throw keyword is to throw your custom keyword, custom exceptions. Okay, so throw both are doing same thing. They are just throwing exceptions, but using the throw keyword you can throw custom exceptions, which is, in throws you can only throw default, which is out of the box exceptions. Okay, which is unchecked exceptions. Okay, that's all.